was asking us, how do you go about registering a new tartan, and how expensive does it cost? Are they going to require a woven sample? Explain who they is.
Yeah. For a tartan to be official, it is recorded with the Scottish Tartan Registry. That's the governing body over in Scotland. It's actually a subsection of one of their departments in the government. You have to have a design. If you need to design a tartan, plug. We have a tartan designer on our website. It's free to use. Have at it. But once you have the thread count and the colors in the tartan, you give that design to the tartan register. They're going to want to know the thread sequence. They're going to want to know the rationale for designing the tartan, if there's any reasoning behind it or meaning behind the colors, behind the thread count, behind any of it, or none of it. You just like the design. They're also going to need to know the registrant details, which are your name, address, phone number, that kind of stuff. And they're going to want to know if there are any restrictions on it. And by restrictions, they mean, are you allowing other people to weave it or to do anything with it, or do you want to keep it just for yourself? Oftentimes, commercial entities will say it is restricted, it is our tartan, no one's allowed to weave it. For our firefighter and law enforcement tartans, we designed those, we put restrictions on them, and we actually copyrighted them in the States. But we don't want anyone doing those because we give a portion to charity. Now, you don't have to have it restricted. You can let anyone weave it if you're not doing it for commercial purposes. That generally, the registration timeline is generally a couple weeks depending on their backlog. Price-wise, I think it's 70 quid for just the actual registration and a certificate. You can get the certificate mounted and stuff like that for an extra 30 or so. So $70 quid right now is about $100, $120, somewhere in there.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not a super, intensive process. It's actually a little bit easier than most people think. Now, the Tartan Register does want a sample if it is woven. So they kind of bug you for it. It's not something that you have to do. It's not illegitimate, or if it's not woven or anything like that. But if you do have it woven, they want it just for their archives. Basically, they're just trying to... The whole point of the Tartan Register is to archive all of this data for future generations. So what they're actually looking for is the electronic data, and if you have it woven, a physical scrap of it. And it will live in their library over there, and it will be there for generations to come, so you will be part of history.
Now, how have we handled that in the past when we've helped a customer with a custom tartan and we've gotten it woven for them? Do we submit samples back to the register, or do we leave it to the customer to do that? Or
if either or both, doesn't matter.
Okay.
If we design a tartan and we register it, then we would send a sample over to the register.
Okay.
If or on behalf of the customer, or
Okay.
if they design it and they register it, I just they get the extra scraps of cloth, and
so they can do so.
Yeah, do whatever they want.
Now, my next question is, what if you decide to change some of the information about a tartan you had registered? Like a couple years down the line, you decide to either
alter the thread count?
Yeah, or no, not even changing the design so much as, although it's a question too, but like dropping the restrictions or adding restrictions or changing the description. Well, that color is really more for my mom than for my dog. Yeah. I mean, can you change how the write-up is, or
I will say this. Yes, you can change it. I had a little bit of a tiff, if you will, with somebody at the register. The Irish Heritage Tartan, which I designed in 2005. I hadn't really done anything with, and then because I did the American Heritage and a bunch of other things. When we did one weave of it with dog leash, and it came out horrible. So we never really did anything with the design. And then about 6 years ago or so, we changed the design, not a ton, but we changed it. And we said, okay, we need to let the register know, because they are the official record keepers.
Right.
So we went to the registry and said, okay, well, hey, just so you know, we had this tartan design before. We altered the design. This is ultimately what it is. This is what we are selling as Irish Heritage. This is our tartan. So, please update your records. And they said, okay, it's £50 to change the register.
Okay.
And I said,
What?
I've already paid to register it. This is just an update because I want to make sure your records are correct. And they said, okay, well, it's £50 for us to update the records. And I said, okay, your records are wrong then. Thanks. Like, that was it. It was one of those, like, I didn't see why we had to pay for them to, you know, change to what it was.
Okay.
I get that there was administrative costs and whatever.
Yeah.
But it was literally just a matter of, like, you know, a few buttons and it's done.
It could be also a minor chill factor intentionally to stop people from doing willy-nilly changes. I mean, every rule has a basis somewhere. It's possible that they had somebody who was like coming back every 3 weeks and saying, "Nah, I changed my mind," and they decided to try and put a stop to that so it just wasn't chaos.
I'm guessing it was more. It was a government.
Bureaucracy.
It was a bureaucracy thing. It was a government. There's a charge for every single thing. You want to change it, you pay.
Right.
And I was just like, well, fine. Then your stuff's wrong. This exists. The point for the register is to record the tartans that exist in the world and catalog them.
Right.
This exists. You're now incorrect. So,
Okay.
it is what it is.
Cool. But don't let the costs or whatever scare you. And basically anything can go into that description. You know, whatever story is behind your tartan, they will record that information for you.
Within reason.
Okay.
If it is racist, homophobic, they will say no.
Okay.
They have the right to do that.
Sure.
Or if it is not what they deem correct, they will do something different or make you alter things.
Okay.
My example is there's a group of people at the Pennsylvania Ren Fair. And they're just a loose group of friends, and they call themselves Clan McEvil. And they had us design a tartan for them, and we went to register it. And the tartan registry said, you can't call this Clan McEvil. They are not a real clan, therefore you can't use the word clan unless, I think we had to put quotations around it.
Okay.
And
Wow.
that got it through the
That's subtle
registration
enough.
process. But it's one of those, like, they just, It is. I understand why they would say that, but it's one of those, like, well, that's what they're calling themselves, so.
Yeah, but they could lead to historical confusion if you're imagining the record being looked at 100
Fair.
years from now.
Fair.
So I sort of
fair
get
point.
that. What about changing the thread count? So you said basically that's your story with that. Okay.
Yeah.
So once you have a design, make sure you're happy with it and you don't want to change it later, I guess. But after that, it's just you pay a few bucks and you're done.
Yeah, and keep in mind, when you design a tartan, you don't have to have it recorded.
True.
We did we're a bunch of guys in the shop here are fans of the Philadelphia Flyers. So we designed a red, gray, orange and black and white tartan. No, not red. Why did I say red?
Why did you say red?
Orange and black and white and gray tartan. And we just, jokingly called it the Broad Street Bully tartan. We didn't register it. We did a custom run of it one time for the 4 of us and, 5 or 6 customers who wanted it as well. And that was it. That was the end of it. We didn't have it registered. We just wanted it to match our hockey jerseys.
You're going to have a bunch of people ask for it now.
Of course.
Okay.
It's my plan.
All right. I think it'd be great if it came back. It was cool.
Yeah.